Hi, I'm Carole Nelson Pond, author of No Women Allowed. The subtitle of that is Breaking Barriers, and so this channel, my channel, is how to break barriers. In my career of 35 years on television and radio, I hit a lot of them, and some of them I just could not break through. Most of them I did, which allowed me to go from being a Sanford housewife with no skills at all in television to earning a six-figure income in television news. So I have hit barriers along that road, but the ones that stick in my head are the ones I couldn't make. Now, I'm going to share this today because from the conversations I've had, the biggest kind of barrier right now is from people who have lost their jobs and they really don't know what the next step is. This is something 6 months ago, maybe 8 months ago, we would not have thought possible that many people could be fired, that many good, competent people could be fired, but they were. And so this takes me to the firings I had that were the ones that I could not break that barrier, not in either case. Others, yes, but not those two. They hit you in the back and they almost knock you over. They're that sudden and that life changing. My first one came when I left the news set, was on my way back to the studio, and my news director, Chris Schmidt, pulled me into the general manager's office where they told me that I was fired. There was no longer a place for me at Channel 9. It was a huge shock. A year and a half ago, they brought me there for six figures, and now I was suddenly out on the street. What happened? At the moment, it didn't matter how that happened. What mattered was I had to somehow get from that point A, to point B. And I did, and I kept going. A lot of it was superficial. I had only myself to take care of. I was self-supporting. I had bought a new house, and that went away. I was going to have to sell that house because I could no longer afford it. Well, as it turned out, it was a buyer's market. I went through some kind of legal strange things, and the couple who walked out after 3 months of saying they were buying it walked out with the deed, and I had the mortgage, and I obviously should have consulted somebody, but I didn't. So that first knock you to the ground happened with people saying, "Oh, Carole, we're so sorry." There was a lot of pity, and there was a lot of very flattering things said, very supportive things said, and I am grateful that that was there. But it also made me feel like my career is over. I'm over. I'm 50. That was what did it. I was 50 years old, and that was considered over the hill. And the news director had said to me, "You really need to act your age. No, dress your age." What? What does that mean? Dress your age? I was not wearing any kind of provocative clothing. what was he talking about? And the idea of being over the hill at 50 was very popular. That kind of thinking was very popular in 1989. So how do you fight that when you're being fired because you're old? You can't. I mean, that's the way that is. It was a nasty kind of breakup. I write about it in the book because there was a lot more to it than simply getting fired. It was figuring out why I was being fired, and that didn't come until later. That was the first firing, and because I still had a job as a radio talk show host, I was fine. But I had lost half of my income. My ego was really suffering. And then the second one happened. It was about a year and a half later. Didn't see this one coming because my ratings were great. What's the problem? Well, actually, the station needed help to pay bills because they were floundering. And so it comes back to money, as sometimes it does in firings. It's not you that they're talking about, it's the situation. That's what's happening. So then, the other thing to do is to have a plan B. And I have never had a plan B, but after that, I knew I needed to. And so to this day, I have a plan B. What can I do if all of this suddenly goes away? What can I do? Who will be there to support me? And who will just ignore my plot? Suddenly they're just not communicating with me. That happens because people, it's like a virus. It's just like Corona. They think that it's going to rub off on them. If I'm fired, then they're going to give me comfort. They're going to get involved in my life, and bingo, they're going to get fired too. Well, we know it doesn't work that way, but people can think that way. So you look for support wherever you can find it. And that means you go online and you join groups. They can either be groups of other people fired, other people in some way. You can phrase it to look for a group that is akin to what you do. And you need to get on LinkedIn. You need to get a resume up on the companies that still take resumes, and you need to be proactive. You have not changed. The situation's changed, but you haven't changed. I haven't changed. All these years later, I am still that person. Now, there are aspects of me, because I have to restart, that mean that I will be different in my values, in my thinking, in my job choice. All of those things are going to be different, but me, the real me, is still there, and that's what you have to hang on to. Not what your mother says, or your father, or your friends, or that kind of pitying sort of thing. You know, forget it. Just, it's flattering, but right now, you have to figure out who you are. I'll talk more about that in the next post. Have a good day.